Okay, let's do this example proof together. So we want to prove A is parallel to B. So I'm going to dash these because we do not know they're parallel. And so once you see that you're proving parallel lines, you want to think about your angle pairs. Can I prove any pair of angles congruent from up here? Okay, so that's kind of your goal. So let's see what they give us. They tell us that C is parallel to D. And they tell us that angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. So right off the bat, I kind of want to start to say to myself, do I know anything else about angle 4 along this transversal? And there are a couple of answers. I see angle 2. Angle 2 would be corresponding. I see angle 3. It's alternate interior. And then I want to say, okay, do I know anything about those in relationship to angle 1? Ooh. Let's try that again. Do I know anything about those in relationship to angle 1? And so I do. I see here that I know 4 with these parallel lines and this transversal, 4 has to be congruent to 3. But then I also know that 3 and 1 would be corresponding, which would make the blues parallel. All right, so let's try to write that. First thing we know is C is parallel to D. That's given to us, right? And if C is parallel to D, I know that angle 3 has to be congruent to angle 4. Because if parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then alternate interior angles are congruent. Okay, now I also know that angle 1 is congruent to angle 4, right? They gave that to me. So I started with these parallels and this transversal, right? And so that tells me 3 is congruent to 4. And if 1 and 4 are congruent and 3 and 4 are congruent, then 1 has to be congruent to 3 by the transitive property. Okay, so this is helpful to me because if 1 and 3 are congruent, those are corresponding angles, which means these have to be parallel if these corresponding angles are congruent. So now I can say A has to be parallel to B because if two lines are cut by a transversal and the corresponding angles are congruent, then the lines have to be parallel. Remember, okay? Please remember. The then part should match what's in the box. The then part should match what's in the box. Notice this then says alternate interior angles are congruent, and that's what this says. This says then the lines are parallel, and that's what this says. Okay,